right, do a quick review of that there. Is that a cucumber?
What is beer?
Hello, everybody.
What's
Welcome
up?
to the Thursday show. This evening, we have the dumpster fire to end all dumpster fires at EA.
Woo!
We
Yes.
have Thanksgiving around the corner, so comfort foods are abound. And what else we got going on?
I don't know.
And
The
that's
classes are almost over.
classes are winding down.
We got our final exams for Christ and Culture, which I'm not looking forward to.
Yeah,
this
we've
exam.
got that. We've got projects bringing down our necks.
Yeah.
We've got my volume turned way too up.
All the way.
All the way turned up. Anyways, to kick things off, we will just do a sort of State of the Union real quick with finals around the corner.
Oh boy.
As you said, we got our Christ and Culture final, and that was interesting.
I am honestly a little worried.
Yeah.
Not because I don't think that I can answer the questions, but because we have 2 hours to answer 4 essays, which is kind of difficult and annoying.
Yeah. Brent, what's your take on it? You got the news today.
Hold on a second.
Well,
I'll make sure it came.
Good. Gonna end up with cramped hands afterwards.
yeah, that's asking
not
for
fun.
carpal tunnel right
It is
there.
really not fun. Like, I think I got it while writing one of the journals the other day, like the hand cramps from that. But I can't imagine doing 2 hours of writing. And he expects the 2 hours.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. One interesting question, or at least interestingly worded, was one about Mr. Potato Head Jesus. That one was pretty wild.
That sounds
Basically
interesting.
saying how people take their religion and, take off the parts that they don't like and add on the parts that they would rather have. I thought that was an analogy I'd never heard. That was neat.
That's true.
Yeah, this exam seems like it's going to be kind of scary.
Yeah, I'm a little spooked.
So, looking
Yeah.
forward to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not. It's weird to me because we don't take notes in the class. Like we just get in discussion groups, all this weird stuff. Like we just write journals and then we do film reviews and talk about stuff that goes on in the films. And then all of a sudden we have to talk about things that we've talked about in class for 2 hours and all this sort of fun stuff. And we have to argue one way or how we view this. And
Yeah.
Most of the class so far has been up to. I decide who talks, by the way. I have the keyboard.
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Most of the class has been dedicated to feelings and interpretation, like our analysis and our interpretations of stuff. But this final is all got. What are you doing there?
Finagling a little.
Finagling? I don't. That's
Just a little.
finagling.
Finagling.
Anyways, this final is all up to our memory and if we can recite scripture and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily to recite scripture.
Yeah.
It just we can use scripture to strengthen our argument.
Yeah. It's more of can we prepare for the questions and then just blarp out whatever response sounds good in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like those typing tests back in middle school where you're like, how
Oh,
many
gosh.
words per minute can you get? And you're over there and your fingers are like
Like
bleeding onto the
12.
keyboard.
I think I was able to do
I'm
12 when I was in middle school, but that's not important.
An old hunt and peck master, which sounds grotesque now.
Yeah.
12 words per minute.
When I was in middle school and first learning how to type,
Yes.
I did not have very good skills.
I remember being really good at that. I had like the little thing you clip to the side of your computer screen that holds the paper,
Mhm.
and I just had like our whole thing was just to type the paper in Word, and then just
I can type fairly fast now. It's just in middle school my hands weren't quite used to the keyboard.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I was pretty slow too. But yeah, I had something. Oh, anyways, I was thinking about the final earlier, and I think in a way it's appropriate because most of what we've done for this class all semester has been writing those journals,
Yeah.
and it feels oddly fitting that like at the end we get the final boss of all journal entries.
Yeah.
4 responses, all in the span of 2 hours, which
Yeah.
I'm telling on myself a little bit here, but I've somewhat perfected the art of writing those responses in 30 minutes or less before class. So
I mean, I've definitely done that too, but it's still like, I don't know. It seems weird to me
yeah,
that the expectation of us writing so many essays in 2 hours.
yeah. Alas, the homework stream has come full circle. Here we are talking about classwork.
True.
But anyways, jumping off of that topic onto some juicy low-hanging fruit. EA has absolutely filled the diaper this week with their Star Wars Battlefront 2 announcement of their supply drop policy and subsequent sort of reneging of that policy. And then,
They're the worst.
yeah, and then not actually changing anything substantial.
Right.
So, what do you guys think?
I already don't buy most AAA video games just because I can't afford $60.
You also don't like them that much.
That's true, but I mean most multiplayer games are pretty garbage in my opinion. Not like there's nothing to do on them. Obviously, you guys love them, but I just think multiplayer like shooter games where there's no like real reward, like there's no sense of accomplishment.
Doing
I
better
mean,
than everybody?
Maybe you can argue.
I am
that
very
sense of-
competitive, Brent,
all right,
and
but
being able to beat people and be competitive is why I enjoy it.
all right. Well, the rest of us who like stories.
I also really love story games.
All right. Well, anyways, storytelling games are the like top of my list. I bought the Life is Strange game right when it came out, like the newest one. I bought that
Yeah,
as soon as
before
it
the
came
storm.
out, yeah. But most of the time I'm hovered around the Steam sales category. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's a lot more prevalent for the big AAA games to have these loot crate systems. But, if something like this, well, I'm going to make a jump in judgment and say after this, there's going to be some changes
I sure hope so.
to how loot crates are handled because this was a PR nightmare
Yeah.
for one of the biggest video game publishers in the world. But if loot crates had been allowed and like the RNG award systems had been allowed to continue, do you think they could have made their way into games like Life is Strange?
They did. Shadow of War.
Well, see, Shadow of War I consider like a AAA title
That's true.
because it's a single player story based game.
Yeah.
but it's huge production value and
Yeah.
the focus is on
But it's still a story game, and they still decided they were going to throw them in there.
Yeah.
And to get one of the like better endings of the game, you'd either have to just sit there and grind or
yeah.
pay for loot boxes.
Well,
In Life is Strange, the newest one that came out, you can buy clothes and stuff for Chloe, but it's definitely not a pay to win type of thing. Like there's not a pay $3 and your character doesn't have to die, and I don't know. It just
You get nothing
really
wrong.
work other than aesthetically
yeah.
in story games.
And that's how it should work in all games,
Yeah, I
not
agree.
just story.
Actually, Minecraft, but like 2 years, maybe like while we were still in college, they had a big crackdown on their EULA, their end user license agreement, and it was they banned a lot of servers that were charging money for players to like get ranks.
Yeah.
So like you could you pay $30, and all of a sudden you unlock all this like PvP armor, and you can fly, and you have the golden apples and all that stuff. I know
That's ridiculous.
it was pretty ridiculous, but I felt, I mean, I will admit that I would play on servers back in the day with factions where you can, it's like team versus team, and you like join your own group or whatever. Well, I joined my own group, and I like got enough money to start my own group because I like to be in control of stuff, hence this stream. But I got enough money to be in control of something. I was in charge of this little group. I got everything ready, and then I got like attacked by another team, and I in the heat of the moment, I spent $20. I seriously spent $20 on a weapon or something, like a set of weapons and like codes you could type in that would unlock things, like commands that you could use, like God mode or something like that. I spent $20 on that.
You spent $20
because I was freaked out. I was like,
hack a
I'm
game.
about to lose everything, and it did help me. I mean, like I was able to secure my team, or my little thing that I had made.
So, what if two opposing factions both purchase God mode? What do they do?
They just look at each other.
You just angrily stare at each other?
I don't know. I mean, the one
Do you
can
play
just keep
chess?
doing whatever they want, but
The door gonna open or?
I don't know.
Ruh-roh, Raggy. It's
Oh,
Drew.
it's Drew. Drew's here.
Hey,
We're talking about mining and crafting
well, sort of.
and spending $20 on.
We're talking
God
about
mode.
loot boxes and in-game purchases.
I was telling him how I
and
made an
microtransactions.
I made an impulse buy like a long time ago. Nice transition. I made an impulse buy a long time ago wherein I spent money on something so I wouldn't lose, and I lost. We should just freeze this half of the.
You should, so it's just Drew's face like
I
that the
could
whole
do it.
time.
I'm gonna get up and do it though. Anyways, so we all got some fairly exciting news yesterday, but without going into detail about it, how are you feeling?
Very good. I'm very
I
excited.
feel good, but I'm a little nervous.
Basically, without going into too much detail, we have a what looks to be like a promising job opportunity as soon as we graduate.
Yeah. Yep.
Or, well, in this area, not here at Milligan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It will definitely set us up for success, even if we don't do well there.
Nice.
Well, we will certainly do well.
Yeah, I mean, we will do well, but
It's going to be a lot to learn. It's going to
Yes.
be a lot of different stuff from what we are used to working here and in the productions that we've got going on here. But a lot of the skills are transferable. So it'll be a good time. I'm really looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it as well.
Yes. Speaking of high quality productions, and the corporate world, Brent mentioned advertising, and I guess we never really played out loot boxes to its fullest, but we can probably tie these two in, because Brent asked me, like, when was the last time that the advertising for something made you want to go out and buy it, and like that succeeded.
Drew, do you want me to mic you? All right.
When
Keep talking about.
so
keep
does
talking about
this question
advertising,
have to
that'd
be
really
like, we have to go, like we went and bought this after watching the advertisement, or like
Or like
we
somewhere down
wanted
the
to-
road.
or
Just
we
like-
wanted to buy it because we saw the advertising
Just
for it.
all right. So when was the last time that you consciously remember an advertisement having an impact on you? Because a lot of times I think, and pardon the way that I'm standing right now, but a lot of times I think that advertisements have like zero effect on me. You know?
because a lot of the time they're not like geared towards you.
Well,
So
I feel like they're unconscious sometimes too. Like,
yeah,
if we're just out driving, making something like, oh, I want such and such to eat. Probably an advertisement at some point has had an effect on that, even though we don't consciously.
Yeah.
yeah,
That was what I was thinking. I know a lot of times I will just be like, I'll see an advertisement and I'll kind of internalize that. And then I'll be driving by that restaurant and I'll be like, oh, shoot, I saw they have the new double bacon burger. So let me whip in there and try that out. That looked cool. I remember specifically Wendy's was advertising a queso burger over the summer. And it looked really good from the adverts that I saw. And I was like, maybe I should try that. And sure enough, one day I was coming home from work and I happened to I knew that there was a Wendy's nearby, so I consciously went to the Wendy's, not thinking of the burger. And when I got there, I saw it advertised, in one of the special little panels on the menu. And I said, that looks like a really good burger. I remember seeing the advertisement for that. Let me try that. And I got it, and it was pretty stinking good. But yeah, in a way, it's like these advertisements, you internalize them. And then later on, when you're in a position to buy it, like when you have the extra $15 or when you're hungry after work, that's when it kind of bubbles back up and you act on that influence.
Yeah, I don't think that they're when they're like advertising something, they're thinking like, wow, I think this advertisement's going to make people want to go out right when they see it and buy it. I think it's internal. It's internalizing that image.
Yeah.
Do you consider free samples as like Krispy Kreme certain days gives a free donut
Yeah.
or a free donut and coffee? Would you count that as advertisement?
yes,
I would definitely say
100%.
Because you go get this free donut, whatever, and you're in the mood for something sweet like 6 months later.
You're like, I'm
And
gonna
you're
go
remembering
get one
the
of those donuts.
taste of that donut, and you're like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I want like a dozen of those now.
There is a Japanese restaurant in the mall here in Johnson City, and every day they're out there handing out samples of like their teriyaki chicken or whatever it is that they have, and that stuff, it tastes amazing.
Even if you don't get it that day.
Even I have been back there multiple times, and it's because they were out handing out samples.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, oh man, they must be desperate, and I tried it, and it was amazing. And I think that's one of the more effective
Yeah.
ways
free,
of
free things are
yeah,
is very
advertising.
effective, I think, in advertising.
Yeah.
I think
mean,
another thing is actually like seeing the people that you look up to actually using this stuff.
Yeah.
So like for me, it comes to video games and being like, all right, these guys use these headsets or these gaming headsets, and they use these specific kind of controllers, and they do like just stuff like
Yeah.
that. I think is more effective than
Yeah. And I think
actual
familiarization
advertising.
as well, like Prowess Sector TC or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
No one even like, no one just goes out and buys that.
yeah.
But when it comes to the time when you need it,
You're like,
and
I'm
you're
getting that.
standing there, you're like, I know that name. Like, I'm gonna get that because
Yeah.
you're not gonna get some random name.
Right.
Yeah.
Like-
you walk into the pharmacy and you're like, hey, I need Prilosec.
So these commercials that are just over and over of useless stuff. Like, when it comes to that one day when you're gonna buy it, it could be one day of your life. You're gonna buy that because you're familiar with the name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now here's something to think about with trailers for films or TVs
Keep talking.
or TV shows. Excuse me. Is a trailer or like a commercial for a film where it shows footage of the film, is that like a free sample of that film? Would it be the same thing?
A
As
lot
like
of
a
the
free
time
sample for
they
food?
mesh them up though.
Would it
So
be?
like they'll chop one part and then chop another part and put them side by side, and they have
Well, yeah.
literally nothing to do with each other.
they go well together.
They go well.
You go in expecting that those clips are gonna be,
but they're not.
and then
Yeah.
you see one, and then like an hour later you see the other one. You're like, dang it, they tricked me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, they do that a lot. But I mean, you're still seeing parts of the film.
Yeah.
Is that
I don't
a free
know.
sample? Are you getting a little bit of the film?
I mean,
on
I
the,
guess
think, yeah.
technically it's a free
Yeah,
sample.
it would.
Yeah,
That would be a free
They're
sample.
using that same idea as the Japanese restaurant. It was like,
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
here, try this little slice,
Here's a tiny little taste of our
and
film.
then what?
That was a
I'm
good
gonna
cut.
I'm gonna try to trick you into thinking it's Frozen again.
Oh boy.
Yep. That's it.
I'm glad we have such a
Disconnect the camera.
wholesome message over there behind Drew's head.
Yeah, it's a good thing we do. Compared to probably what was on that screen
What is that?
earlier.
Satanic Jello?
Anyways,
You
so, yeah.
jelly, bro?
No, that's you. But yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting way to think about it.
Brent.
Hey,
Aw.
you should
We're having some wholesome conversation here about
Bruh.
advertising.
cover up the H and we'll be like Australian.
Hello.
Private sector TC.
OTC.
OTC.
Yes.
Prilosec OPEC.
Well, when Larry the Cable Guy says it, it sounds like he's saying Private sector TC is what it sounds like he's saying.
Oh my gosh.
Has Larry the Cable Guy not had a sexual assault scandal yet?
I don't think he's in the public eye much anymore. He's
But still,
Fallen by the
that
wayside.
hasn't really stopped people
yeah.
from.
I don't know. He hasn't yet. I'm sure he's a. I'm gonna say he's probably a cool dude. Maybe his comedy is a little too much making fun of people like me and Drew and probably the rest of us in here.
Southerners.
I got to meet Jeff Foxworthy one time
Okay, that is awesome.
and shake his hand.
That's pretty cool.
That is pretty sweet. What was the context of this?
So we have a small performing arts center in my town, but a millionaire or a multimillionaire owns it. He actually invented online tax software. And he lives, and so he does all this stuff. Like he basically owns every shopping center, like every, provides a lot of jobs in the area. So he brings people to this place, and he built this nice performing arts center. And so Jeff Foxworthy was coming to do a. He wasn't getting paid. All the proceeds went to some. I can't remember what.
Yeah, like a charity.
Yeah, so we got the backstage meet and greet. So my whole family got to go back there and hang out with him for a little while. And my sister brought him a can of squirrel. A canned squirrel.
That's awesome.
And he shouted her out on stage. So
I'd like to shout out this canned squirrel.
yeah, he made her stand
Courtesy
up and
of
stuff
Drew's
in the
sister?
in the,
Is that how he introduced her? Drew's sister?
Drew's sister.
yeah, yeah.
They were like, oh yeah.
No, he pulled it out, and it looks like a jar of brains or something. Like it just looks disgusting.
Heck yeah.
But it was pretty funny. So I've never laughed that hard in my life, and there was nothing bad about his comedy. Like there's no cuss words. It's just
Good,
it's
clean
hilarious.
Yeah.
Like I was hurting after I got done.
He was, yeah. He's one of my favorite comedians from my childhood because it feels like I haven't seen anything out of him in years.
Yeah.
But basically the whole Blue Collar comedy tour, with the possible exception of whoever that guy was that would drink whiskey his whole performance. I can
I'm trying to
stand that
think of
guy.
who it was.
I want to say Ron Burgundy, but that's so terribly wrong. But he acted like
Yeah.
Ron Burgundy.
Yeah, I can't remember.
But I wasn't a fan of his because he was the opposite. His comedy was the
Yeah.
F-bomb and
Yeah.
like slightly,
I mean, anybody can say
Misogynistic
that and be
goats.
funny.
Yeah. It's not
You know.
difficult.
but yeah. On the other end of the spectrum of crass comedy, I was going to say, like, Donald Glover is one of my favorite comedians that I've seen more recently, and he's a little vulgar sometimes, but not like
A little?
off
I
the
mean,
wall.
that can be funny in a sense.
Yeah, it can be
But
funny.
I respect the guys who do it and don't do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I feel like I haven't watched a lot of comedy lately. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not in the stage of my life where I go out of my way to watch it.
Yeah.
Is there like quality comedians out there?
I feel like in high school, everyone's quoting different comedians, and you want to be up
Yeah.
to date on what they're quoting, so you can like quote some back.
That's very true, actually. That
That's-
was why I
That's
got
the reason
into
I
it.
watched it,
Yeah,
which is dumb. But
I guess
I actually didn't keep up with any comedians when I was in high school.
yeah.
I actually don't really keep up with comedians now either.
I don't either.
I have a hard time sitting down and just watching a stand-up show.
yeah,
I think this has to be kind of.
you got to be there. Like it's
I
like
watched a lot
concert.
of Tosh Point oh
yeah
in
it's
high
pretty
school.
funny.
He goes too far sometimes, but he
I
can
agree.
be funny.
He is.
Yeah,
He
He
goes
likes to push
way
the
he's
too
a
boundaries.
jerk.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one form of comedy that I will never get is like being a douchebag to people
Yeah,
and thinking that's funny. Like the prank channels on
Oh
YouTube.
my gosh.
Those are some of the worst things I've seen committed to camera. And like I saw the trailer for a Serbian film, so that's saying something. Don't go watch that, dear viewers. Don't watch that. It's just, I don't know. It's just naturally you want to feel empathetic for the people being picked on, and
because like if you were in that situation,
yeah, I would throw hands with whoever's behind the camera.
That's true.
Like it, I don't see what their idea is with making these videos.
I don't either.
Like I don't know the entire situation with Jake Paul and whoever was working with him, but apparently he made prank videos about him.
I don't even consider what he
That-
did. What he did pranks. I saw some of the footage.
What did he do to him?
Like one of the main ones that seemed to like freak me out the most was he allowed them to build like a room inside the house,
Yeah.
and then he went and he tore down the room while they were in there asleep.
What?
So like he took like a sledgehammer and started knocking down the walls. They had a wall of like fan art. He knocked that down and like all this other stuff. And then
So he destroyed all that fan art.
yeah, he destroyed all their fan art. He another time he took like a taser in the room and like woke them up by just buzzing the taser. Like he didn't hit them with it as far as I could
Okay.
tell, but like just sitting there buzzing the taser, all this other stuff. It's like, why in the heck would anyone think that's okay
See,
at any time?
Jake Paul would have been shot. Jake
Oh,
Paul
yeah.
would literally have
Yeah.
gotten shot.
Oh yeah.
If he did that to like me, if I was maybe a little less constrained. I don't know though. Someone come bebopping in my room with a taser in the middle of the night. They're at least going to catch something.
true.
It ain't gonna be fun.
It ain't going to be happy. They aren't getting a fun little pillow fight. Throw the whole cabinet at them.
True.
Give my hernia back, but it'll be worth it.
Oh gosh.
The force of my innards leaving. That'll be how I throw it.
I learned why you get hernias today.
Why? Why did I?
I mean, in case you want why guys get them more.
Yeah, I know why.
Yeah.
But let's hear it.
Well, I mean, like you have an empty like a hole on either side right here.
Yeah,
So
because our uteruses don't form as they do in the other gender.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
there's weak spots in our
there's still holes
inguinal
there.
ligaments. So
Yeah, and that's where mine was. It was inguinal.
yeah.
Also, you get a lot around your belly button, and that's because when your umbilical cord is cut, there is a weak spot there. There's like
True.
there's not muscles that develop there like they normally would. How you get hernias?
Hernias.
We went from
Hernias.
advertising to the
I think
blue
we
collar
need to get
comedy
off the
tour
subject of
Hernias.
to
Hernias.
hernias.
I hope you're watching Perny.
I doubt he is.
You're gonna
He
get a hernia.
He doesn't love us.
He's cranking out a stampede tonight.
Yeah, he's got a lot of work to do. Poor guy.
I also
Bless
have
him.
a lot of work to do.
Noah Parker mentioned Larry the Cucumber Guy. That's
Larry the
interesting.
cucumber guy.
Yeah. He mentioned that during the Larry the Cable Guy stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh, now there's a fun topic I want to talk about.
Oh, wow.
And we can relate this back to Battlefront 2 as well.
Everything relates back to Battlefront
Everything.
2. Spoiler
You're not
alert.
getting off that easy.
Spoiler
EA.
alert.
No matter what you do, every breath you take, every step you make, we'll be mad at you. But yeah, apparently they rebooted, the VeggieTales. And judging from what I've seen of it so far, they mostly just rebooted it because it looks like booty. So what is a time that a favorite franchise or film or game of yours was remade or rebooted, and it got rebooted in the process?
Rebooted.
What?
I'm trying to think. I can think of so many times where I've had that feeling, but I can't remember what they were about.
It could even happen to like I don't know about McDonald's, but it can happen to like restaurants.
The Szechuan sauce.
Szechuan sauce. Oh gosh, someone
That
got
was a-
stabbed over that.
Yeah, that was a debacle.
Oh gosh, yeah. Ooh. Speaking
It
of,
says when Bernie changed his wardrobe.
That's true.
bless. Hey, that's not live yet.
Yeah, it hasn't gone live yet, Noah. You're not supposed to tell people about it. It'll be live tomorrow.
Yes.
Not on our channel. It's the Stampedes.
Give it time.
Unfortunately, we should have hijacked it.
I'm trying to think of
We
something
should have rebooted
that's
it.
happened.
I'm so sorry I brought that word into existence.
Rebooted. Something's been rebooted.
Modern Warfare
Scooby-Doo.
Remastered.
Oh, that got rebooted in record time.
Yeah. Sorry. Scooby Doo.
Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo.
I used to watch the
definitely.
classics, and now they're
Yes.
like, what?
It got rebooted 2 or 3 times.
Rebooted like 5 times, dude.
It looks like the Michelin Man at this point.
That was my favorite in like elementary school.
Yeah.
It was the OGs. Like,
I really enjoyed that Ben 10 show on Cartoon Network, and then they were like, "All right, we're gonna make it again," but they made the kid even younger,
yeah.
and then they stopped that one, and they remade it again, and the kid is even younger.
They also made a live action movie, like a
Oh
couple
my
of live
gosh,
action
yes.
movies.
They were horrible.
They were pure booty extract,
I don't know why people
which is
thought
poop.
that it was fine.
It was bad. It was, yeah.
Like the first, like I understand I was a kid when I watched it, but I was like, this show is good.
Yeah.
And then they also did the same thing to Teen Titans.
That's true. That was going to be an example I brought up was Teen Titans. Because
Yeah,
the original show was stinking good.
yeah. I never really watched it much, but I was like,
Yeah.
oh man. And I don't know. It's weird. Like, it's hard to think about those in my head because like I try and avoid just watching reboots and
Yeah, you
playing
just block them
reboots.
out.
Yeah. Other than I was convinced to buy Modern Warfare Remastered to play with a guy. Or yeah, and then we
Yeah.
played with him once, and then basically I don't think he wanted to play with us
Yeah.
because we were not good.
Yeah. Well, we just we never played together that much in that game. And by the time that I got into it, like on my own PlayStation, wow. There's a ghost behind me.
Just kidding, guys. It's me.
Aw. It's Casper the Friendly Ghost getting rebooted behind me.
True.
But basically they did a good remake of Call of Duty 4 because it looked really good and it was faithful for better or worse. So like dumb design flaws like the AK red dot bullets hit to the down and to the left of where you're actually aiming, like little dumb quirks like that, or when you knife with the G3 the animation plays but the damage isn't dealt until a full second afterwards.
Yeah.
So you swing your knife and then as long as you're standing next to the person, then they fall over and die.
There were just a lot of issues that
Yeah, there was some stuff that they could have fixed, but instead of doing that, what they did was they went and added a loot crate system. Boom, full circle. Look at that.
Great.
Look at that. We're back.
Loot Crates. Not sponsored by Loot Crate because we need 10,000 views.
You better watch out, EA, because we're still on your trail.
I guess
Better
loot
watch our
boxes
videos.
would be more
You
the
better watch our
boxes, yeah.
videos a lot so that we can get 10,000 views so that we can be reviewed for monetization. You know what I'm
we
saying?
need to be reviewed for
Know what I'm
monetization.
saying?
We need to make those 50 cents and AdSense.
That's
Oh,
right.
yeah. It just makes sense. But
Shut your.
All right.
But
Just
yeah.
for that, we definitely need them.
Okay. But yeah. Anyways, yeah, that one got rebooted pretty good.
The Battlefront series.
Battlefront got rebooted so hard. Oh my gosh.
The original Battlefront 1 and 2 made by Pandemic it was Pandemic, right?
I think so.
Yeah. They were fantastic.
They were so good. Battlefront 2 for the PlayStation 2 and for the PC.
And Xbox 360.
360.
Or it was Xbox or Xbox 360.
I think it would have been the original Xbox because it was for the PS2 when I played it. But those games were a ton of fun. Well, Battlefront 2 was a ton of fun. And you can still buy it on computer or PC under Battlefront 2 Classic. But, oh boy.
Oh, that's a good shot.
Did you just take a picture with your camera?
Like, the campaign was good. All this other fun stuff.
Yeah, you could play against bots. Like, each character class had
was
its
made by
own
Pandemic.
cool abilities. Yeah, and it was a lot of fun. It was pretty much an asset flip of one of the battlefields at the time, like 1942, but they added a ton of cool stuff to it. So you can't be mad about that. And it was pretty faithful to the Star Wars universe as far as lore goes and all that, which I'm a Star Wars nerd, so I know a decent amount
Really?
about that stuff.
Really, you are changed it there. What was Lando Calrissian's name, idiot?
Well, it's now Donald Glover in the upcoming film.
True.
I'd really like to see his ability in a non-comedic role.
Oh yeah. Well, you get some glimpses of that in Atlanta, but yeah,
Yeah, that's true. You do.
you not like a full film.
In a feature-length film, his ability.
He's in The Martian.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, I haven't
But
watched The Martian.
He has a couple of like slight comedic gags in his character in The Martian.
Yeah, his character is mainly like a math nerd type person
Yeah,
who like basically comes up with the right solution for
yeah,
the mission that they're trying to do, like the right calculations.
He's
and
like- yeah.
he's got the hunch that's right, but how do we know he's right? We don't know. We're taking a
Yeah.
chance. One of those.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's a word for that sort of character, because it's an archetype that shows up a lot. Surely they would have a character like a 1 or 2 word title for that.
I'm sure they do.
Like the opportune savant, the right guy at the right time character.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, Battlefront 2 was great back in the day. And then those of you who are in the know, Star Wars was bought out by Disney, and Disney was very quick to start making cuts. They did away with LucasArts, the video game making branch, or they mostly did away with LucasArts, right?
Mostly. I think they mostly. I feel like they would have kept on some of the writers or something,
Yeah.
created some way for them to be there. But, yeah.
They canned most of the staff, or they canned all the projects, most of the staff.
And the projects were looking awesome.
Yeah. And there was a Battlefront 3 on the way that looked really good.
Yeah.
And there was Star Wars 1313, which looked good.
Yes.
But Disney canned it and has thoroughly expressed that they are not interested in doing anything else with it. EA got exclusive publishing rights for Star Wars properties in the process. And EA worked with DICE, the developers of Battlefield, who EA's worked with a lot over the years. And I'd say DICE is a good developer. I respect DICE.
Their engine is
Hold on a second. We're
gorgeous.
gonna need to have a yawn counter on the stream by the end.
Dude, I don't know why I'm yawning so
I
much.
don't know. I yawned and then you yawned.
I think it's your fault.
Speaking of things that started off great and then got bought and then turned to crap, The Walking Dead.
That's true.
Yeah.
And that's
I just watched I watched a the Your Movie Sucks, like the whole rundown of it,
Yep.
and basically explains in really like precise detail what happened, like the timeline of what happened. The second season, where they're first off they jumped from 6 episodes to 13. In the second season, they were supposed to have it was supposed to be a prequel to the first season, where you see some of the other characters like Andrea and Dale, the guy, the old man
Yeah,
with the hat,
man with the
fishing
hat.
Mhm.
The RV owner.
if you can remember Dale.
Rip my
anyway,
boy Dale.
yeah, and also technically he in the comic books he has not even dead yet in the comic books
Yeah.
at the point that they are now. I think I don't even know what they are.
There's
at
so many
originally.
discrepancies between the comic books and the
Yeah,
show.
but so the show in its first season was so great, and it got such great reviews that AMC was like, "We're gonna give you bigger budget, and we're gonna keep on all your cast and whatever." Except they didn't do that. They actually cut the budget by a lot, and then they fired the writer.
Yeah.
Way to go.
That was Frank Darabont, right?
Yeah,
that
that's
was
right.
they
That's
canned him, and Joe Berthnall, who played Shane,
Shane.
left right after, because those two had worked together a lot, and that's why Joe Berthnall is in The Punisher, isn't it? That's that connection
Yes,
that got him
yeah.
there. Yeah, and that show's doing really good, but Darabont got canned second season, which is, funnily enough, exactly what happened to the illustrator for the comics in The Walking Dead. They released the first volume, like the first edition, I think 10 issues with one illustrator. And then as they went into the second one, the writer and the illustrator had a falling out, and they had to bring on a new illustrator. And the art style completely changed. So, The Walking Dead is a cursed franchise. If you're working on it,
Yeah.
whoever worked on season 2 of the Telltale series, somebody probably got canned. Just
Yeah.
saying.
Probably.
Season 2. But I think that The Walking Dead is a weird and unique show, and they could end at any time. But they could also have it go on as long as they want.
That's
Whereas like something like Breaking Bad, which AMC was aired on AMC, but AMC didn't own outright. They owned Walking Dead outright, which is part of the reason why it got so bad, because it was just a show that was pitched to them, and then they bought it, and then they took over, and then it got bad. But
Yeah.
so like Breaking Bad, which is one of the best TV shows of all time. Michael, how far through are you?
I'm in season 2, towards the end of it.
Really, I thought you were farther along than that.
No, because I picked up the new Call of Duty and haven't really sat down to watch it.
Ah.
And 2, Netflix hasn't been working on your Nexus player.
Oh yeah, that's
Is it fixed? Just
no,
out of curiosity.
It's not fixed yet. It's a payment plan detail thing.
'Kay.
It's not my Netflix account.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
I know
if
it's not yours.
fixed.
But
But anyways,
government, we're not borrowing someone's Netflix.
Yeah. What? No, but
It's totally ours.
So Breaking Bad, one of the best TV shows I've ever watched, and on IMDb, it's up there on IMDb's top 100 list. Is not owned by AMC outright, but it's shown on AMC, and it's a show that has a definitive end to it in
Yeah.
sight from the beginning. So they're like, this is the beginning. We want to, here's how we want the seasons to go, and you keep getting renewed for more seasons. But after a while, with a show like that, the ratings are just going to drop, because there's if you just keep creating new plot devices
Yeah.
to lengthen, there was, I don't know if either of you are familiar with Burn Notice.
Yep.
That show, I like the show. I thought it was a pretty good show. It's not it's not rated really high on IMDb or anything, or by a lot of critics. But I mean, it's not a bad show.
Well, it's dragged down by the seasons where it kept getting renewed.
Yeah, it was formulaic, and that was really frustrating because like you get in, you see some sort of the meta plot that's going on through the whole season. You see a little glimpse of that at the very beginning of the episode, and then you get interrupted by some sort of small 1 episode long conflict that is like, oh, my friend's a drug dealer and he is caught in something that he shouldn't be a part of, and I need you to help me. And then the main character deviates from the meta plot that's going on, helps the guy. You see some cool action sequences, some gunfire, however the budget for the episode was, and then that that gets resolved, and then like at the 40-minute mark out of an hour every time. And then after that, you've got the rest of the show, which is just like you kind of pick up back into the meta plot line. Like he goes to a meeting with some obscure guy, but the guy doesn't show up, and he just shoots out the seats in a football stadium or something like that. And then you've got this whole obscurity, and then at the end of the season you see this big finale, and then there's a big cliffhanger for the next season, like, oh, the guy who I was trying to go after actually works for someone else. So it's pretty repetitive. Like a lot of crime dramas really are like that, with Psych and Monk.
Yeah.
2 specific examples. At the 43-minute mark, and I know this because I would always wake up for school at like 6:45, and I'd come into the kitchen at like, well, okay, let me think. It was probably earlier than 6:45, because I would get into the kitchen right at the time when he was doing the reveal, like, here's how I know, here's what I know, and everything is right, and here's how I know everything. That whole spiel at the end. So I was always around the 45-minute or 50-minute mark or something like that.
Yep.
And then I would get on the bus at 7 and go to school, and I would know what happened.
Yeah. That's something that kind of gets on my nerves. And that's why I don't watch a lot of TV shows like that, is the whole there's an overarching story. But this episode, you're going to go find clown shoes in Macy's. It's just, I would rather them go the Breaking Bad route, and each episode focuses on a part of the greater whole, and that's the story. It's not, there's a little bit at the beginning and end that's part of the bigger overarching theme, and then the middle is just filler. The later seasons of Chuck, if you ever watched that show, is very much guilty of that. And that's another show that got renewed too much. Its first season was really good and really interesting, and they ended it in a way that made it clear that the next season they had very specific plans. The second season was fairly decent, but it kept getting renewed, and they kept dragging its corpse through the hallway saying, oh, let's do one more season, and it just got bad.
Yeah.
A lot of comedy shows in America don't really have that problem, because like obviously you've got the example of like The Office, where that could have just kept going if they had kept getting funding, or I don't even know really why they canceled, like what specific reason they canceled it. If they just like,
After a while, it just gets to the point where you
Yeah.
should.
well, yeah, like I think with The Office it was kind of like too many of the main characters were gone, like from the beginning, from the first season, and it just wasn't the same show as it was anymore, and the ratings kind of
Yeah.
went down. But the finale was, I think, one of the best TV finales I've ever seen. It
Oh,
was
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it just tied everything together, instead of just being like, all right, that was our show, bye.
Yeah.
But I think it was a lot more substantial than that. Comedy shows like SNL, that's a live action, like live shot, pure comedy type thing,
Yeah.
where things
it's
are
just a
written
bunch of
before
skits.
each show. That's something that can go on for the
Yeah.
length of time until the
Well,
main character wants to retire, or,
the-
or they get
yeah.
low enough ratings that the network wants to can them or something.
Yeah, the talk shows and skit things like SNL, those have pretty good staying power. But you also have to think, like, the people working on the show, eventually they're going to get tired, and they're going to want to do something else. Like, I feel like that's probably what happened with The Office, because, I mean, just a lot of people on the show are super successful writers or actors. That honestly, at the time, I don't think this was the case, but looking back, it's the cast is seriously star-studded, like crazily so.
Yeah.
Even Toby, who everyone hates on, like he was one of the writers, like
Yeah, a lot of the
main
people-
writers of the show.
A lot of the people that sit in the annex actually were writers of the show, and they put themselves in the annex, funnily enough, so that they didn't have to be on a lot.
Yeah.
They could write themselves in little funny parts. Like Kelly and BJ Novak, who was Ryan, were writers.
Yep. Yeah, and I think when they decided to end it, that was just them being like, okay, we're ready for a new project.
And I think that now that it's a lot of times that you have a completed, like right now, if you were watching The Walking Dead, you'd be like, oh, okay, I kind of remember, what happened a long time ago. But what happened? What's really important is what happened in the last episode and what's happening like in this episode, and what I anticipate is going to happen for the end of the season. But when you have a finished product, like a full, Breaking Bad season 1 through season 5, and you have your pilot and your finale, and it's all in the same DVD set, and people can watch them all, in a binge. That's you evaluate it differently.
Yeah.
Like as a whole show, it kind of averages out the rating for like each individual episode. I don't think that The Walking Dead's gonna sell a lot of DVD copies
I don't think so.
because, first off, it's what season are they on?
It's like 7.
Yeah, 7
They're
or
on-
8.
I mean, The Office had 9 seasons, but they were only like 20-minute episodes. I thoroughly enjoyed The Office, like every bit of it. It tied together. It was really good, really well written.
Mm-hmm.
With the Walking Dead, first off, it's not a very family friendly.
No, it's not
Like,
something you can sit down and
there was-
relax and watch.
My
There
family
was-
watches it together.
Okay, but that doesn't make it family friendly because
Oh, I agree.
your family. But think of
No, you wouldn't watch it with your little 10-year-old.
No,
Yeah,
definitely not. There
little
was- I
Jimmy's
remember-
gonna have some emotional issues watching that.
I used to be a part of a group where we would go to this lady's house who worked at our church named Pam. We would all go over there after our Sunday night service thing, like our little afternoon youth thing. We'd all go over there at 8 p.m. and then The Walking Dead would start at 9. Back when it was in season 2 or season 3 or something like that. And we'd go over to her house and watch the show. And this was back before I even had a license. Man, I'm reminiscing over here. But so we'd go over to her
We're
house and
old.
watch the show. And there was I'll never forget this. There was one scene where at the end before the commercial break, there was a zombie and it was trying to get into a van. And the whoever the character was, Michonne or something, slams the head of the zombie in the back door of the van, and it just opens it back up, and it's just what is this show rated? Is it allowed to be on TV? That's what I was thinking. I was like, is this allowed to be on TV right now?
Yes,
and
it
then
is.
it was immediately
Here in
followed,
America.
immediately followed by a KFC commercial. With a bucket of gravy and mashed potatoes and chicken and stuff. And I tweeted about it. It was back when I first knew how to use Twitter. I tweeted about that.
Yeah, there's a discussion right there. It's frozen.
Dang it.
I know. I just wanted to do that.
But yeah, I'm sure this is said all the time, but American rating systems and television ratings, they are a-okay with violence for the most part,
But not okay with
as
sex.
soon as there's some sex or a little bit of necky body, off the air.
Yep. It's such a weird system.
I switched the thing as I said, so I was like, that's a nice.
He's going to do it again for folks that didn't see it the first time. Yeah. But yeah, our rating system is super weird.
Yeah. What can you do? We also banned alcohol for 20 years, and it only got worse. So, God bless America. Anyways,
We're also
gonna
ban
now
drugs, and that's
ban
still pretty bad.
Yeah,
Weed
that's
and, corruption. We should ban corruption.
Yeah, I think that's a good plan.
That'll work.
That's gonna work out real well.
I think we already have banned corruption, so like
Speaking of things that we should ban that are in my heart right now, net neutrality. There's a vote coming up in December.
oh, I thought we were going back to loot crates.
No,
Well,
it's
yes,
coming up in
ban
December.
loot crates.
If you're
Loot
watching
boxes.
this, and I know there's like 2.5 people watching this, yes, that means you, Mom.
I am the half.
No, my mom's probably listening to it in the background. Vote no on the rules that they're imposing, or the rules that they're changing. Keep net
Can
neutrality.
you explain what rules they're changing?
Without going into a lot of detail because I don't have articles in front of me. Basically, the FCC is trying to make. Okay, so we've probably all experienced this. You know how cell carriers will say, get unlimited 4G LTE data plus Netflix streaming, which basically means that that anything you stream on Netflix on your phone won't go through your data. Like it won't use your data.
Which doesn't make sense.
It's completely BS. And it is like the first glimpse of what you're gonna see with net neutrality.
But it'll be
Think-
on your laptops and on your
Right.
streaming TVs.
Think of net neutrality going away, like cable packages for TV. So you're gonna have to start paying, $30 a month if you want YouTube. All of a sudden, we like the most popular websites like Facebook. Oh, just pay your internet service provider $80 more a month to get this special package that has YouTube and Netflix and Facebook and Google, and you can use all those websites as much as you want for this extra $80 a month.
Yeah.
Or we'll speed up the access to Netflix. Like if you don't pay this extra amount of money, we'll slow down your Netflix and not let you stream it as fast. Like you'll only be able to stream in 720p instead of 4K or whatever. And it's ridiculous. And it's a sad day in America if that goes away, in the land of the free, if the freedom of the internet goes away.
That's
It's
true.
just-
Basically, you could think of net neutrality as roads. Right now, the internet has net neutrality laws, so you are free to travel on those roads on the internet. If they take those away, they're going to turn into toll roads. And those toll roads will be controlled by the big internet companies like Comcast. And to this day, if you Google image search Comcast, the swastika shows up. That's
like-
how hated they are.
It's like one of the worst. Comcast, seriously, Comcast and EA are two of. I'll take a step back. EA is a recent addition to this list, I think.
Well,
But
they've been
most-
pretty bad since 2008.
That's true, but most of the recognized awfulest, worst companies are any of your telecommunications companies. Anything that has a monopoly in this country, or a oligopoly, or a duopoly, or whatever you like.
Yeah.
Basically, just a monopoly amongst these broadcast providers.
Anything that is in charge of a whole market is going to be one of the worst companies. Just because, like, people want choices, they don't get choices. If you don't have a choice, that you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The provider all of a
they
sudden
can jack up the
charges
prices.
you all tons
Yeah.
more money, and that's why they hate Google. That's why they're trying to get municipal fiber, municipal communications banned, like completely. Like AT&T was in the news recently because somewhere in, I want to say Michigan, and again I don't have this in front of me, so don't quote me on this. There's somewhere in, I think, Michigan, there's like a city that wanted to introduce municipal fiber, which you're seeing a lot more. Like Lexington is going to be one of the biggest cities in America that has municipal fiber, which means like the city installs its own. I know you heard that. For those who didn't hear that, I farted directly into Daniel's eyes. Anyways, so as I was trying to be serious here. Lexington is going to be one of the biggest cities that has municipal fiber, which means it's the city installs. This is a serious topic.
Yeah, but you can't just fart in the middle of a serious topic and
You wanna-
expect it to still continue to be serious.
I'm laughing because you played it off so well. I was like, how did I imagine that?
I literally didn't think anyone heard it.
Oh,
I know
buddy.
the viewers didn't hear it.
Well, now they might as
Now
well
they know.
have.
It sounded a little something like this.
Okay,
But
all right.
a little
All
more
right.
basic.
All right, back
right.
to the serious
back to the
topic.
serious topic here. Okay, so municipal fiber is when a city or another municipality
Municipality.
municipality owns, like, builds their own fiber network. So basically connects the whole city up to a fiber grid and connects that to a larger, a larger communications grid, and it basically makes city to city, peer-to-peer speeds a lot faster, and also just overall internet connectivity speeds a lot faster, because the main bottleneck is between the ISP and you. So the ISPs are all connected together with big old networks that go across the whole country and even across the Atlantic Ocean in that transatlantic cable.
The underground thing. Yep.
Yeah. So they're all connected up at really high speeds, and then they offer out speeds to you, the consumer, and that's the biggest bottleneck. Not that they can't actually give you more than 100 megabits per second, but it's not fair because not everybody, if everybody had 100 megabits per second, not everybody could get it because blah, blah, blah. Anyways, the point is, with fiber, that speed goes way up. And people and cities that are introducing municipal fiber, such as Provo, which is in Utah, Lexington's coming soon, a lot of even Irwin.
Yeah,
is-
Irwin has
its own
fiber.
fiber.
yeah.
Yeah.
So this basically just completely demolishes the barrier of entry for, like, fast internet, which should be, it's the 21st century. Japan has mastered this. A lot of China has mastered this. Korea has mastered this. Why haven't we
lot
got
of Europe.
fast internet? Even
Yeah.
like a lot of northwestern Europe has got this down. So why don't we have fast internet? It's because these stupid telecommunications companies and these laws that allow them to do this prevent us from building our own infrastructure and then using it. They need to own the infrastructure. It is very frustrating for somebody, all of us, who would like to go into business that takes place, a lot of it over the internet, and even do what we're doing right now,
Yeah.
because we can't do this if the laws change and we all of a sudden have to pay $30 a month to access YouTube, to have YouTube accounts or something
Yeah.
ridiculous like that. Not that would, I don't have any idea what the
That sounds about right,
situation would
though.
look like, but like,
It'd be like buying a cable package.
right, buying we'd
Yeah.
have to pay monthly to do this instead of just doing it for free for fun because we want to. We would have to. It would basically turn YouTube into a barren wasteland full of paid content that
Yeah.
is, or advertisements.
Which it's
Yeah.
it's approaching that now,
Yeah,
even
stupid ad
as it is.
That
But
is my rant.
yeah, and if those of you who've probably heard people say it's not a big deal, don't worry, blah blah blah, it's being blown out of proportion. The people who are saying that probably have something to gain from these cable companies expanding or these telecommunications companies getting bigger.
And or they're old and they
Yeah.
Yeah,
They don't
or-
have
with no
anything.
internet, so
Yeah,
they don't care.
or they're digital immigrants who don't care about the internet.
Yes.
But losing access to the free internet would be like, I don't know.
It'd
It
be
would
like
just-
slapping toll booths on all the roads.
Well, there's
Yeah.
that's true. Like slapping toll booths on a road that goes between your house and your friend's house, not even necessarily between states.
Yeah.
Like like going between states is kind of like the ISP, situation we've got now. Like if you were to charge people going on special high speed roads between states, I can understand that, but you need to also have a free and open alternative. I don't know exactly where I'm going with that, but basically, yeah, that's my rant.
Yeah.
Also,
on
wouldn't it,
travel.
like, if you're playing multiplayer games, if someone pays for better connection, wouldn't they just win all the time?
That's
That already somewhat happens.
I mean, that already
in some
somewhat
places.
happens,
Yeah.
But, like-
well, having a better connection in general could help you. Like even today, just
Yeah.
having a better connection.
Well, yeah.
Well-
I meant
But
like
also,
with
I think
this.
it would be surprising to a lot of people how little data actually is transferred back and forth in games that are like first-person shooter games. Like it's we're talking bytes like of data. That's
Yeah.
and that's how you can have split second like decisions made by the server. That's like, okay, this, because they're not you're not transmitting like your entire body in your player loadout.
Yeah.
And you're transferring like an X, Y, and Z coordinate. That's literally just 3 numbers, and a code for whatever your weapon you're using, and code for whatever attachments are on it.
Yeah.
And then a code for when you're firing the bullet and at what like point that terminates. If
Yeah,
it's a
the
hit scan,
the straight line.
If it's
Yeah.
a hit scan, it's a lot quicker, and if it's a projectile, it's
Yeah.
different. But yeah, so you'd be amazed. I mean, we're like an hour of gaming could be like megabytes of data,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
not gigabytes or anything. Like Netflix streaming is not. If I had tethered my phone to my computer, I could run for a month straight gaming off of my 5 gigabytes of data or whatever.
Yeah. Also, if companies that are in the telecommunications field wanted to, the repealing of net neutrality. Let me back up. If these big telecommunications companies have a subsidiary or something like that that develops video games or something like that, then these telecommunications companies could totally throttle your internet connection to the servers of competitors' games if they wanted to.
Right,
if net neutrality is appealed.
That's exactly the thing. Is like if Netflix were affiliated somehow with Charter. So what do we have here? Charter? Xfinity?
Yeah,
or
we're on
something like
Charter.
that?
We're on Charter here.
Yeah. So if,
some parts of Johnson City it would be Comcast.
if Netflix were affiliated with Charter, and you were in a you're in a Charter territory where they have a monopoly, basically. Just don't worry about that government. Don't. But
yeah, just look over it. It's
let me
fine.
back. If Netflix were affiliated with Charter and you're in a Charter territory, you get cheaper access to Netflix because they want to promote we make money if you watch Netflix because Netflix pays us to be affiliated with them and blah blah blah. If there were any sort of alternative to Netflix,
like Hulu.
Yeah, like Hulu, or specifically startup companies, small budgets, not
Like
like
CISO Comedy. They're a streaming service that's pretty small, and I might have folded. I haven't checked recently.
Or if we were to back up even and say if Blockbuster Video were affiliated with Comcast, okay,
You
and
mean
we were in a
Yahoo
Comcast
Video?
territory, and then all of a sudden here comes Netflix, the incentive to start watching Netflix, paying extra money to watch Netflix when you could get the same thing from objectively a worse company, but for way cheaper. Of course, people would just use the cheaper option because it's Blockbuster Video, but it's also,
It's
like
bundled
half the
with
price
your
of
Comcast.
Netflix because you don't have to pay the extra money.
Yeah.
Netflix isn't paying the company, so why should the company promote Netflix?
Yeah.
So basically, you're going to see the end. You will see the end of startups, or at least the end of startups that start genuinely from organic, from somebody's idea and some
From
money.
natural creation in the
Yeah.
market.
You would basically be limited to like endorsed, new creations like made by Disney, funneled $1 billion into some other, a streaming service like they're about to start. Disney funneled $1 billion into this, and so it can't fail because they have enough money to be affiliated with and reap the benefits of that.
Yeah.
So, low budget startup stuff like that's not backed by a ginormous corporation, you're done.
Yeah.
It's sad. And I mean, I think that in our lifetime we're going to see the end of not the end of, but a normalization of advertising, the likes of which we don't even know how to comprehend yet. Like
Blade Runner levels.
We're gonna be
That's gonna be
walking.
insane.
I've never seen Blade Runner. Is
You
that what
need
I'm talking
to.
about?
You need to. It's a really good.
Blade Runner or the 2049 one.
The first one,
first
at
one.
least.
But
They have it in the library. Go check it
I
out.
was literally looking at it the other day. I don't know why. But anyways, we will be walking billboards to each other.
We
Whether
already
it's-
are.
Well, that's true, but like
Walking electronic
we won't
billboards.
even know what it's going to look like. Times Square, like to the in imagine Times Square level advertising billboards, but in
Buena Vista,
Buena
Georgia.
Vista, Georgia. Yeah, some
I
small.
hate Times Square.
Okay,
So
nice.
this is
I
gonna
think
suck.
the thing with Times Square is that like you go there now and it's like it's a tourist attraction. It's
Yes.
a spectacle.
That's the problem.
But that's gonna be I don't know if the specific. Did you hear that?
Yes.
Okay.
I was trying to play it
we
off.
could have just moved on, guys.
Sorry, I saw him smiling. All right. So what I'm talking about is, you go to Times Square and you see it, and it's a spectacle today. But in 30 years, or I don't know how many years, I don't know what kind of time frame we're looking at. But like Irwin will have video billboards everywhere.
Yep.
Because that's the only way people can make money. Is like, it's no effort. You just sell yourself out. You sell your building. You sell anything you own that has any value to any advertisers, and all of a sudden you're just going to be walking through ads for the rest of your life. Your Facebook feed, you're going to have to watch a 30-second ad. Heaven forbid, a 30-second ad that's unskippable in order to scroll through the next 5 posts or something. Or you're going to have to, or Facebook itself is going to, or Twitter is going to be turned into one of those really annoying the slideshow sites where it's like, here's 18 things you didn't know about donuts, and it gives you a slideshow, and you click through the next, and it's literally giving you a fresh instance for those advertisers that want that money, a fresh instance of a web page where they can show you a new ad. That is gold. So those slideshow sites where you're clicking and you're basically giving yourself a new instance of the website every time you click, 18, 20, 40 times. 40 celebrities that their mics weren't on and they were on live TV, and it doesn't even have to be right. You just have to click through it, and then the advertisers make so much money, and in turn they pay whoever owns that website a fraction of a percentage of however much they made, and that's just how people are making money. YouTube monetization was born out of advertising, and I can understand that because that's how the norm has been for a long time. Any TV channel is going to have advertising. That's how they make their money.
Yeah.
But just we're not even gonna like if we were super duper popular and we wanted to make some more money, we could say, hey, any company that wants to put a logo right there on that whiteboard behind me for I don't know $100 per video, hit me up in the comments. And then
Contact
somebody
us.
would do it. Somebody would be like, okay, I see the value of this, whatever this is. I see, okay, however many people watch this per month. This is sort of sort of appealing to my target demographic here. So yeah, sure, I'll include that in my budget, $100 a month, and for a month or two, and see if that makes me any money, and blah blah blah. It's just this is like the last. We're watching the end of the advertiser-free era. It's kind of already left. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
It's only going to
seeing- we're
get
closing the door
crazier
behind
from
it
here.
right now. That's crazy. I mean, that's what that's when I wanted to talk about advertising this morning was, or when I said that to you earlier was.
How
Just
crazy it's going to get.
Eventually, we're just going to be advertisers advertising to each other. Like if I wanted to send you a Steam message, it's going to have an ad attached to it, and your Steam message back is going to have an ad attached to it, or something like that. They're putting ads in Windows, like in the operating system now. You know
Really?
that? Yeah.
What?
So it's right now, at least as of before the fall creators update or whatever happened, they are including OneDrive integration in your File Explorer. So that might not seem like a lot, but right now, what people are talking about is that they have space for other Microsoft applications and products. They're going to promote those in your File Explorer. In your that's like that would be like Apple promoting the new iPhone X, or
In Finder.
in Finder.
Yeah.
I don't know if Apple like the newest version of iTunes. It would be like them promoting that in in Finder, some software that they make or something like that.
Yep.
That's ridiculous. I'm not looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Luckily, right now in Windows you can disable it, and
I'm going off the grid.
we're going off
Oh.
the grid.
Yep.
Ha!
You know what? Gosh darn it! I
screw
want some
digital
Little
media.
Caesars pizza right now.
See, that's the problem.
Gosh darn it. It's
But-
that Little Caesars ad
Yep.
from our sponsors at Little Caesars. I'm just kidding. We're not sponsored. Don't sue us.
Yeah, please
Yeah.
don't.
I'm torn. Should we? Would we be sellouts if we tried to make some money on a sponsor
I think
after this video?
I think it when it comes to sponsorships, I'm okay with being sponsored. I feel we have to genuinely like the product before I can actually endorse the product in that sense. So if someone's sponsoring us, it can't just be like, oh, some random company wants to sponsor us. It has to be like, okay, we like the product this company has, like we use it, might as well be like, hey, we use this.
Yeah.
Like I would never I would never utter a word if I were paid by
EA.
Ulta Beauty
Yeah.
or something
what?
random like that, like
Booty.
like some make yeah Ulta Booty.
Yes.
Also booty.
You never heard of them? Go Google it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Your
let me
search off.
okay, I'm gonna go
No,
do
no, don't do that, Michael.
So are you saying makeup's been
That-
rebooted?
No, I'm saying
Yes.
if they offered to, actually, I really like the way that Casey Neistat, Ethan Klein from H3 Productions, and I'm blanking on the name. There's one other guy I'm thinking of specifically, how they handle advertisements, because Casey Neistat often will put the sponsor in the beginning, like the first frame of the video, the first little bit of the video. He'll put, this video is made possible by, a lot of times it's Samsung, or sometimes by camera companies or whatever.
Yeah.
Or Nike is one of his most famous movies. But he puts the advertiser in the beginning of the film, tells you the intent, and then does basically whatever he wants. That would be the ideal situation. But you have to work to get to that level, because he would take, like, Nike gave him like a $25,000 budget, and instead of doing what they wanted him to do, their contract with him was like, you can do whatever you want. Here's what we suggest, but you can do whatever, you have creative control.
Yeah.
And what he did with it was he instead right, I don't know if I'm thinking of the right video, but one of his videos, sponsored by a big, like Nike or something like that, took the whole budget, went to Puerto Rico, not Puerto Rico, like the Honduras or some place that was a third world country that had been hit by an earthquake or a hurricane or something like that. Spent the whole budget on pallets and pallets of food bought in bulk. He couldn't get like a delivery truck, so he rented like tour buses and drove them all down there and handed out bags of food and stuff to all these people. Now that's something that's a good ad. That's a good. But something like on a different level, something like what H3 Productions does, where they during their podcast they pause their content and they read a script that was given to them by a company. I like what they do purely because if it were something that they didn't like, then Philip DeFranco, this is the third person I was thinking of. If it were something that they didn't like, they wouldn't make a deal with the advertisers.
Yeah.
Like if it were but they these products are things that they actually use, and the things that they actually would really recommend to people, and that's when they do the deals. So that, like, Dbrand's a great sponsor.
hint hint.
Dbrand,
Hint hint Dbrand.
Fresh. What am I thinking of? Simply Fresh or whatever that.
HelloFresh?
HelloFresh.
Yeah.
Blue Apron. Things that they use. MeUndies, they do that a lot.
MeUndies.
Yeah, but these are and like Dollar Shave Club too. They love these products and they use them, and then they recommend them to us. And Philip DeFranco does the same thing with like Postmates and all that nonsense.
Yeah.
Whereas if they were just like, this episode was brought to you by GE.
Kellogg's asbestos
Yeah,
flakes.
okay, yeah.
Yep.
What?
Yep.
GE, GE light bulbs brought, whatever, and then but they don't care about
Yeah.
GE. Like, there's no relationship there.
Yeah.
One of the better advertising that I've seen on something like that is the official podcast, and what they do with their ads
I love
is
love
they
their
turn them into
advertising.
jokes. They segue. They'll have a skit going on, or they'll have a topic that they're talking about, and then they sort of segue into discussing their. Can I have some of that?
No.
Right. They'll segue into talking about the product while keeping the joke going,
Yeah.
and then they'll continue to make jokes afterwards. So
One of my
It's-
favorites from them was someone commented this really sad story after subscribing to them or something.
yeah.
And then halfway through, and then they read the person, the person will give them a comment. Well, the person went with the sad stuff, and he's and then halfway through he started talking about one of their advertisers.
Yes.
In
I remember that. He was like,
in
my
his
girlfriend
comments.
left me, and then halfway through he's like, but she came back because of Blue Apron.
and I was just like, what?
Yeah, stuff like that I can appreciate. It's creative, it's fun. The advertiser is still getting their word about their product out, but they're having fun with it. I can
Yeah.
appreciate that. But yeah, on the subject of crazy ad saturation, check out Blade Runner, the director's cut of the original 1980s.
It's good.
It's
Watch
really
it.
good. Watch the director's cut because the studios butchered it a little during its initial release, and I think that Ridley Scott's director's cut, his definitive version that he wanted, I think that is the superior version, because I've seen both the theatrical release, and I wasn't live for the theatrical release. I watched it on DVD. And I watched the director's cut, and the director's cut is the way to go.
I've only seen the director's cut, but I know the director's cut was good. Bless you. But yeah, watch him.
Poor man. But yeah. On the discussion of things, what are we going to discuss next?
Your mom.
Got him.
Wow.
No,
Wow.
Jill Peacock, if you're watching this, let us know your comments. I want to know about.
Tell us your most embarrassing stories of Daniel.
Oh boy, let's hear it.
Who, me?
I guess.
No,
Anybody.
I was saying mostly towards
My
Daniel's
most embarrassing
parents.
story of Daniel. One time.
You went into my room and took a
No,
picture of
my
us.
most embarrassing story
Southeast
of
Bay.
you, man. All right. I'm going to tell an embarrassing story about you, and then you get to tell an embarrassing story about me.
All right.
All right. One time. Hold on, I didn't think this through.
Good start. That's a good
One
start.
time, a couple of weeks ago, I was in my room, as I normally am, and I sat down, watching some YouTube videos. And all of a sudden, I hear a flush, which usually means Daniel's, down on the toilet. And I didn't hear him come in, but he takes a long time to go to the bathroom. Well, anyways, so I think nothing of it. And then I hear the door slowly open a little bit later, and I hear a little a cry of despair, I'll call it. The toilet had been clogged.
Oh.
And so what ensued was probably the greatest adventure I've ever gone on here at Mogan College. And it was we didn't have a plunger because we're college students. As we found out, what college student has a plunger?
None of them do.
None of them.
I previously had one, but then I
Yes.
was like, I don't need to bring it.
Nowhere
Oh
on this
boy,
campus.
were you wrong.
It turns out nowhere on this campus. And look,
Because we had clogged.
that camera is about due to
Drew
die.
and I clogged
So
one.
if this camera
toilet.
image stops,
Yeah,
it's dead.
When?
But I'm not
I
gonna
think
stop
freshman
until
year.
I keep
because I got a plunger.
That's true. Yeah.
until that story's over. Anyways, so
No, I went and bought one
Daniel,
because it was clogged.
because it was his doing, had to go to our neighbor's room and ask, and we went downstairs to our RD's room, who didn't answer the door. And then we went downstairs to the other room, and they didn't have one. We went so far as to go all the way at like midnight to Hampton, which is a couple of probably 100 yards away in the dorm building. For those of you who aren't familiar, 100 yards away from our dorm building. We walk over there. We don't have a key to get in because it's not our building. So we knock on the window of somebody's room who we knew.
And terrify our friend Conley because it was his window and he was almost asleep.
But so he gets up and lets us in.
Dadgummit.
He gets up and lets us in. We ask him, or anybody for that matter, if they have a plunger. No, they don't. We decide that what we need to do is go and look on campus, in one of the buildings, because surely in one of the buildings there's got to be a plunger somewhere. Well, we get in Daniel's car, and we go to the student union building. Didn't have one. We get back in Daniel's car, and it's a cold night, and we're both in t-shirt and shorts. We go from the student union building to we couldn't get in Gregory. Did we go to the science building? No, we just went to Paxton after that. We went to the communications building. There were no plungers there.
Plungers there.
We went to never mind. I thought it died. We went from Paxton to Derthick. We walked to Derthick. Looked in every bathroom there, almost. There were people in there for some reason at midnight. It was like 12:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
There were some people doing something. Anyways, couldn't find a plunger in there. Ended up going all the way back to our room. We were thinking, all right, we need to figure something out, or else we need to go to Walmart right now. And we were really not wanting to go to Walmart.
Walmart gets a little scary around here after midnight.
It's scary all the time.
That's fair.
So, I just don't want it to get soggy. So, we
The story or the
the
cereal?
So
The story's already a little soggy.
we get back to our room. We decide we need to do something. So, when I say we, I mean Daniel. We got a metal coat hanger, and I'm gonna let you guys interpolate there, or extrapolate.
Basically, we tried to use it as a little hook to fish the Lodge toilet paper out of the toilet.
Yeah.
And it didn't work well because when you pull on something with a hook,
I thought you were just breaking up all the.
I was trying to get something done because it was just a hot mess.
Yeah. Well, anyways, the knight in shining armor here was that we went out. For some reason, I went out to the outside. We saw in the study room that Matt, the RD, was there. So we found him, and we were like, "Hey, Matt, do you have a plunger?" And he said, "Yes, I do." So it turns out that Matt was in the study room the whole time, and we didn't have to go on any of our adventures.
He was literally 5 or 6 feet away from us.
Yeah. So we got a plunger. Not really quite sure how you use a plunger and then give it back to somebody without it being awkward.
So we put it in the shower and washed it
We
off.
washed it off, and we gave it back to him. And
You
and he
watched it.
said, yeah. So and that was that. That was that's the story, everybody.
Yep. That's my embarrassing story.
And then Dustin Cole. I don't know if Dustin's watching this, but Dustin Cole had a similar story. Luckily enough for him, we went and bought a plunger afterwards. But Dustin Cole came over here and was like, "You guys have a plunger?" And I was like, "Yes, I do." And he said, "Okay." And then he came to bring it back, and he knocked in the door, and I went to answer it, and I opened the door, and he's like, "Wait 1 sec." And then he turned around and left, and he came back, and when he came back, the plunger was all nice and clean. So,
Is it just the normal thing to do is clean off a plunger when you borrow it from
Well,
somebody
would
else?
you rather get a poopy plunger? Like,
Oh no, I wouldn't.
well, then what do you want me to do? Just
you squirt some hand sanitizer and be like, you deal with the rest.
I mean, it's
I
a
got it.
plunger.
I got it soaped up. The rest is you. What's your embarrassing story of me?
What? Sorry, I'm in the middle of an important conversation with my mom.
What's
So
what's your embarrassing conversation about me?
Embarrassing story about you. Oh man. I don't have an embarrassing story off the top of my head, but I do have a story where you saved our lives.
Where was that?
So it was like our sophomore year when Becca and Kennedy first came here, and we were like,
It was freshman year when they first.
well,
Freshman-
no.
freshman
It
year.
was
Oh,
like
when they first got here.
when they
okay.
first actually got here and were like actual students and hanging out with us all the time.
Oh, I remember.
So
this
like
one.
we went to a couple overlooks on the way over to Asheville
Yep.
and stopped, and like Brent took pictures and we all just kind of hung out. Well, about 3 a.m, we're like, let's go to Cookout. On our way back, everyone's a little delirious.
Kennedy was extra delirious.
Kennedy was extra delirious. It was great, hilarious. But so on our way leaving Cookout, we are going towards. We're heading towards downtown, like around ETSU, and this driver just. They have a red light. They're taking a right turn. They decide they don't have to stop at this red light to make this right turn. Not only do they decide that they don't have to stop at this red light, they decided they wanted to go across all the lanes at this red light. So
buddy.
we go through our green light, and they turn on their red light. Luckily, there was nobody in the 2 lanes that were beside us.
The 2 lanes of oncoming traffic.
Yeah. Yeah. So Daniel has to like get all the way across these lanes of traffic while these other drivers are doing the same.
Yeah, they're just like trying to hit me. It felt like.
Pretty positive they were drunk. But it was, yeah. So Daniel saved our lives that night because he paid close enough attention to notice that
At 3 a.m.
3 a.m.
This big truck barreling towards me.
Yeah.
And
go-
then we taught Kennedy French.
But that's not. Yeah, I was about to add that little caveat. Needless to say, almost getting killed brought forth some pretty interesting words from my vocabulary. And Kennedy in the back seat, who was pretty sleep deprived at this point, heard these words. And at the end of my little tirade, I was like, "Ooh, pardon my French, but we almost died." And we kept going, and the conversation changed to something different. And probably 2 or 3 full minutes later, like the conversation had moved far away from it, Kennedy goes, actually, that was not French. And it took me a second, but I was like,
No.
oh,
She
oh
was
yeah.
half asleep.
Oh.
So it was like this delirious state for everybody.
Yeah, it was a wild ride.
Yeah.
All right, what's my embarrassing story about myself?
No, you're embarrassing us now.
Okay,
I guess.
my
You can
revenge.
embarrass me if you want.
What can I embarrass Brent about?
I don't think anything embarrasses Brent.
You remember Julian Smith?
The guy who says I created this for, or I made this for you.
Yeah.
No.
Jellyfish.
Sorry, that's an old YouTube joke. Let me see. I'm trying to think of Brent. I once got incredibly sick at Brent's house and stayed up all night dry heaving until I finally wet heaved into a trash can.
Oh boy, that's not embarrassing for me though.
That's embarrassing for me. I don't know. What have you done? You had a runaway crawdad freshman year. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, that's not that embarrassing.
It's
But
not embarrassing.
Tried to burn
but-
down Webb.
Oh, Brent was our first ever fire alarm. He was cooking popcorn and he
Set it for 10 minutes and then left.
totally immolated his popcorn because he set it for 10 minutes and
it's
left.
all Drew's fault because I wanted to talk to Drew about something, and I ended up
Forgetting your popcorn.
There's Drew right there. Yeah, so I put the popcorn in the microwave, and then I was like, "Oh, I need to ask Drew something." And I went over to Drew's room, which was right next door to mine, and I stayed in there for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I remember. We were in there.
When I came back, when I came back, everything was fine, and I opened the microwave because I was like, "Oh no, I have popcorn." So I opened the microwave. And that was my first mistake because the smoke just billowed out of that microwave like a fog machine on a Sunday
Wait,
night.
that was your first mistake?
Yeah, dude.
Not leaving the popcorn for
That
10
was
minutes.
that might have been mistake number
unattended.
2.
All right. I was mentally inattentive to the popcorn, but normally my popcorn attentivity is good.
Better than your word choice.
Yeah, so perhaps, but the popcorn that night was it was burnt. So
Yeah,
all right,
I got a unique outside perspective on this because I was down at the courts playing some tennis, and I heard the alarm going off, and I saw people filing out like a wet anthill, and I was like, in passing, I just said, "Oh, I bet Brent burnt something," and sure enough, come to find out later that you had actually burnt something, because we were always talking about how you like make popcorn, and we're like, one of these days you're gonna burn it and set off the alarm. But
this keyboard not work?
Drew and I were walking down the hallway as soon, like right afterwards, and I looked at him and I was like, I bet it's Brent.
mm,
And we walked by Brent's room and looked in there, and it was smoky. The microwave was open, and we were like, "Yep, it's Brent."
What's a good fun story about Michael? I'm trying to think. You didn't do nearly as many crazy stuff as Brent and I did.
Yeah,
Um,
I feel like I'm the calmer one of the group.
yeah.
Brent, come on.
Oh, that smells.
There are kids.
There
Um,
are two. Oh. All right.
I don't know. I can't think of anything for Michael. I can't think of any good funny ones.
What else? What else?
You haven't done
embarrassing can you
anything
think of
to-
for me.
Like, too
I mean,
embarrassing.
I mean, I know of
Should we
one, but I
open
don't
this up to the
exactly want to
chat?
talk about it on stream.
Okay.
Should we open this up to the live chat and see what people have to say?
Yeah. What are some good stories about us live chat?
I haven't even looked at the live chat. And
Last
Kayla
I saw,
was-
no.
my
said
phone's gonna
something.
die. Phone's gonna die. Phone's gonna die.
Kayla was
Yes.
mocking me for the phrase "wet heave," which should totally be a thing now. I have another good story about Brent. He and I took Comp 211 together, or was it Comp 111 that we took together? We took Comp 111 together. That's right. And we had Dr. Hoover for a teacher, who is great. Dr. Hoover's awesome. And
I was in there
in 111 or 211?
with Hoover.
Yeah,
Oh, both, I think.
you were.
Did you stay up really late with us doing our papers at 4 in the morning?
No, that was
That
Seth. Yeah, but I remember that too. But yeah. Anyways, it was probably the morning after a very late night of working on a paper or something for Comp. We get into Dr. Hoover's class and we're doing something. She's talking, and for some reason, Brent sees a spider or thought he saw a spider,
You definitely saw us.
and he flung himself at Mach speed up onto the desk. Hey, our audience wants you to keep your hiney away from the mic.
Yep,
But
I agree.
Brent
What was that?
achieved orbit onto the desk and then onto the floor in the middle of class, and everyone stops and they're like, "Is this kid okay? Is that what seizures look like?" And
I landed kind of like this.
and yeah, in the middle of class, and obviously that was a pretty big distraction. And Dr. Hoover's like, Brent, what are you doing? He's like, I saw a spider. And of course, it was all a good chuckle and a giggle, and then we went back to writing. Blah, 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 blah. What else? There was the video game Olympics where this one's not really embarrassing for you, Michael. You just got some bad luck. You played in the Smash Brothers
Oh my
bracket,
gosh.
and
It's such a difficult bracket.
it's the hardest.
You have
bracket
the
at Milligan.
easiest. I have the hardest.
Yeah,
Actually, no. Noah might have the easiest.
that's true.
I don't know.
Anyways, there's a very active community of Super Smash Brothers players at Milligan.
They're ridiculously good.
And Michael jumped in there, and Michael was feeling good. Michael had practiced a lot. He was whooping up on me a lot, and he gets in there, and he gets his first round in, and he pulls off a play that I had never thought, like I would not have the guts to pull off. He does some crazy block move and launches this person, and I'm watching him, and I'm like, oh, heck yeah, he's got this. Like, if he can pull that out against this person, like, there's nothing. And it's like when he did that move and dishonored that poor person, they took it personally, and they came
They
out
reverse
swinging.
swept me.
They were like, they were doing moves I didn't know existed in Smash Brothers to
And
poor Michael, and
I
he was
lost
like
2-1. I lost 2-1.
Man, it was crazy. I was impressed. I was like, I didn't know that was a thing.
I need to practice.
But
I need to practice a bunch.
when I
want to win this. I'm going for gold.
that reminds me of when I played the Call of Duty tournament, because last year it was Modern Warfare 3 or Modern Warfare 2, excuse
Yeah.
me, and in one of the middle rounds, like getting close to the end, I started the round off and I was like, I don't want to be dumb. We could only use preset classes. I was like, I don't want to be dumb and use the FAMAS with the grenade launcher because that's really cheap. And so I picked like the UMP-45 or something. And at the very start of the round, like right when the round started, I heard like the sound of a rocket being fired, and I saw the rocket go flying past my head. And like right when that happened, I was like, we're using the FAMAS. And so I switched over right then, and it was early enough in the round that it just gave me the gun. And I just turned around and took the kid out, and he leans over around the TV, and he's like, really, dude? Like, he sounded so legitimately sad. And I didn't know what to tell him. I was just like, sorry, dude.
I'm winning.
You throw that rocket at me at the start of the round. Like, what did you expect?
Yeah.
Like, you broke the unspoken rule. I'm going to break it right back. Sorry. But that's not really an embarrassing story. That was
No.
just your story reminded me of that.
Yeah. I enjoyed playing in the Smash tournament.
Yeah.
I-
I wish we had more events like that here at Milligan. I think that would be fun.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun if we had like an intramural esports stuff,
Oh yeah.
but I don't think that would happen.
I don't think that would take off really.
Yeah, it'd be a weird mixed bag where we have people who are phenomenal and like would just absolutely annihilate everybody, and then we have people that would also join that have zero reason to be in an esport intramural
Yeah.
competitive thing.
That's true.
But I wish we could do that. 'Cause
Yeah,
I think
it
it'd
would
be
be
fun. Like,
I think we could probably get enough people, but
yeah,
it'd be a lot of time and effort
it would
to
take
get
a
it
lot
going,
of time. Like,
and we just don't have the time.
even these games, on like watching them, they take an hour and a half like per round if it goes all 5 games.
Yeah.
So like even just doing that, it wouldn't be, and like just playing one game wouldn't work to be able to be like, oh, they're better than this other team. Like,
Yeah.
you would,
You would have to set it up a little differently.
yeah, we would have to find a way to get a good
Yeah.
balance. Although it would be awesome.
Noah's defending himself in the comments. If you've looked,
What do you say?
he said his bracket was the easiest, but he's still pretty good. You are really good, Noah. Noah can drift like nobody's business. He's DK, Drift King. But yeah, I don't know. Does anyone got any neato stories? I mean, I got a suggestion from one of our great viewers about my sports bra story, which I think we've said that one on the stream, but
Oh yeah.
if we haven't, when I first met Kennedy's family, and they're great, they're awesome, I was a little nervous, obviously, and I jumped in the van with them because we were going to go eat lunch together, and I jumped in the van with them, and I was talking with them a little bit, and they were like, so where are we going to eat? And I was like, oh, why don't we go try this place called Labels? And they were like, well, what is it?
It's label, not labels.
Labels.
Label.
Well, I'm sure I called it the wrong thing at the time. But I said, why don't we go eat at Labels? And they were like, what is that? And I said, well, and at this point my brain was trying to say, it's kind of like a sports bar. But somewhere between my brain and my mouth, it hit a snag. And what came out was, it's kind of like a sports bra. And Kennedy's mom tried to maintain her composure and not bring attention to it because she's like, that's awkward, but slip of the tongue. But her dad was crying laughing, and Kennedy was crying laughing, and the whole car was like gut busting. And I thought it was hilarious too, but at the same time I was like, ah! So that was relatively embarrassing, but it lightened the mood. It was funny, so I'm not. And it's a good, fun inside joke, so I can't be mad about it.
Yeah, see, my dad's the type of person that fast forwards through tampon commercials on TV. So that probably would not have gone over well with him if he had a daughter. I don't know.
I don't blame him for fast forwarding through those commercials, though. They're kind of awkward.
Some of them can be.
So Michael's the type of person that fast forwards through tampon commercials.
I'm the kind of person that fast forwards through all commercials.
I'm talking about like he can't stand that they put that crap on TV.
Oh, I have no problem with them putting it on TV.
What about
I
the-
just feel awkward watching them.
Yeah, I'm not sitting there like, hey, that's pretty good.
Hey, I think I'll go buy some.
All right, on that note.
Anyways, let's wrap the stream up, guys. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, so are we going to do our week in 30 seconds real quick?
Sure, but I don't want to get up.
All right, we'll just eyeball it.
All right, fine. I'll
What
Get-
button do I need to press?
We could give it
Just
a quick,
kidding.
We could just give a quick summary of our week, and then that be it, right? Since we're getting
You
close,
sure could.
we're getting close to 11, so I think this will probably be our last little thing.
Yeah.
I can't remember everything I did this week, though.
Kayla said females don't really enjoy tampon commercials either, which is
True.
fair. I mean, the Charmin bears with the little flakes of toilet paper stuck to their hindquarters.
Those
That's
crack me up.
that's a little cringy.
Yeah. Advertising is very cringy.
Yeah, it is. It can be weird.
That's true.
Do 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 do.
Daniel, you're going first.
All right, I'm going first.
Yes. Yep.
There it is. Oh man, I don't even know where to begin. What?
Oh, there. Are we ready now?
Hello?
Yes, I just been testing the keyboard controls so that I can come out here and sit.
All right. Oh my goodness.
Oh, no, that camera was on me.
Why would you do
I
that?
thought it was just the audio.
Would you?
You know, I want to rewatch that right here.
Oh my goodness.
I just watched it back live on my laptop here.
Brent,
Okay, I think we've seen
I
enough.
think we need to have
Jeez
a
Louise.
conversation with you about appropriate stream etiquette.
Yeah.
Oh,
Can I just do my week in 30 seconds, please?
fine. Ready? Go. Actually, wait.
Whoa. Anyways, my week started out over the weekend. My awesome sister came to visit. Leslie, if you're watching, you're great. Thanks for stopping by. We hung out and we ate a lot of really good food. And we played Brothers, Tale of Two Sons together. And it was really sad and depressing, and it made me cry. You should check it out sometime. I had a ton of work to do, a lot of Stampede, a lot of graphic design. I didn't think I was going to make it out, but I did, in fact, make it out alive, and here we are. Woo-wee.
Nice.
This is going to be difficult.
Boo, 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 boo,
All right, I'll
boo.
go next, I guess.
Okay.
Well, basically, this week I introduced and finished the game of Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons with Daniel, and it was really good. I've watched it like 3 times, and it's been sad every time. I also started talking to Brad about potential job opportunities, and we talked a little bit about some work that we're going to be doing here in a couple of weeks, and nailed some of that down. Figured out my schedule. Basically, didn't have a whole lot to do this week. Just Christ and culture. And we need more time.
Nope,
But-
you said it for 30.
All right.
That's
30
what
seconds.
we get 30.
Yeah.
It's the rule of law.
Yes.
A matter of law.
Now I'm just going to have to figure out what my week was in 30 seconds. This is going to be fun.
Is your week game week?
Ah,
Kennedy's dad saw your stunt too.
a lot of people
My
did.
fart.
Kayla
Yeah.
said add that to the list of most embarrassing moments for Brent.
The day Brent spread eagled on stream.
Okay, I didn't spread eagle. I am kind of spread eagle right now.
Are you man-spreading?
Excuse me.
You guys want to go to McDonald's after this?
Really?
How about we save our money and go to lunch tomorrow?
I don't. When are you guys going to realize that I'm kidding most of the time?
There's always that chance that you're
Yeah.
not, and that's what's spooky.
All right, Michael.
30 seconds.
All right, oh
Your
boy.
week. Go.
So Saturday I went and helped my family get our boat out of the water for the winter. Sunday I went to church. Monday I went to classes, the usual stuff. Tuesday went to my classes, had fun playing pickleball, beat an undefeated team with my teammate. And then in the afternoon we streamed a basketball game. Yesterday we met with Brad about some possible future employment. And then today I only had one class, so I took a 2-hour nap and played video games.
Oh, time's up.
Let's go. Exactly 30 seconds.
Nice.
Whoa.
What are you doing, Drew?
Don't come around here no more.
All right. So
You've ruined my focus. I spent so long getting that in focus.
so is there anything else we want to talk about,
My
or do
game
we
was
want
out
to
of focus.
do we want
You
to
wanna
end
wrap it
this
up?
one? Let's wrap up.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right, bada bing, bada boom. In review, EA, you're not off the hook. You suck.
You're the
Stop
worst.
taking our money. Hopefully, this will change the industry for the better over time. Comcast, you're also terrible. You're an abomination, and we
Don't
hope
sponsor
net
us.
neutrality doesn't get we hope net neutrality remains and it doesn't get repealed. Advertising is cray cray, but Blade Runner is good. Director's
True.
cut. Brent is afraid of spiders, and
He
likes
also
to toot on
does-
microphones.
Does not understand etiquette.
Does not understand microphone etiquette.
True.
And Drew
That's
was not a fan of the Scooby-Doo rebooty.
True.
Drew doesn't have any
the
And Drew doesn't have
reboots.
arms.
All right. So thank
All
you
right,
for joining
sounds
us.
good.
And I think that'll be it for tonight.
All right. We'll see you guys at the next show. Bye.
Bye.
that's
Welcome
All
to the
right,
Thursday
take two.
show.
Bye.
Nope, that's also the intro.
Oh
I thought I had the
boy.
right button figured
Oh
out.
no.
Thursday.
Plays
Oh.
the intro again.
Welcome to the Thursday show.
That's the intro again.
Someone call an ambulance.
Brent, just walk in there and do
All
it.
right, just do it.
All right. This stinks.
How do you think the microphone feels? All right, for real this time. Bye.